Miss ya. Oh man, I feel so amazing. I feel so good right now just seeing the people that are on this call right now. It's been 3 weeks. 3 weeks. And we have new brothers and sisters joining us. Like every single person that is on this call. Like you guys are all really, really, really incredible people.
Hello, surprise.
Oh my god. Choo Choo, are you serious? Wow, I forgot. Yeah, you're Wow. I have chills. I have chills. Oh man, that's so amazing. Courtney, welcome Courtney. Okay, so we're gonna get started here in a second. A little after Burning Man, I've been super emotional. Just everything's been very emotional for me. It's sharing about the stories, and actually for the first 3 days, not actually being able to share anything because I couldn't even talk. I would say 2 words and literally cough my brains out. And I think I gave myself a concussion at one point, coughing so hard. No joke. Like not even. It was crazy. And it's kind of like spirit. God knows what was best for me. I can't come back. I actually landed in Vegas Tuesday morning. I was going to go right back into our mastermind call on Tuesday, lead my other real estate call on Wednesday. I was going to go right back into it. And I get so sick that I couldn't do either one of those. Spirit's like, no, you need to do some more integration. So I had to actually be still with myself for like 3 days, really thinking about what I wanted to bring back from Burning Man, and it was my first time, um, and but I felt like I always felt connected. I always felt connected to the principles and the spirit of Burning Man. Um, but yeah, just first I want to welcome all of the new brothers and sisters that are joining here. Okay, whether you're on social, on all the different lives that I'm on Facebook, Instagram, whatever, or you're on Zoom, I just want to share my heartfelt and sincere gratitude for each one of you playing a part in my life. That somehow this is important enough that you would take the time out on your Sunday to join this call. Like you guys are up to amazing things because you're amazing people, and that you would take the time out to be here, it really means a lot to me. And this call has been actually the greatest Claudia, hey, sorry, it has been the greatest representation of the principles of Burning Man, actually. And I've been doing this for 5 years. Everyone's like, wow, you just been teaching A Course in Miracles and spending this much time for free all the time. Like, this is for me, really feeling and experiencing what it means to give your energy, your time, give of yourself, and receive from the giving. And then talk about that a lot, that part of the shift that gets to happen in our lives in order to create harmony and peace is that we must recognize that giving and receiving are not separate. It's one of the greatest teachings in the Course of Miracles is to have is to give all to all. Okay, so we're going to really talk about that a little bit, and I really want to bring in some of the profound moments of Burning Man. I would love for some of the people that were actually there too to share like some of your profound moments too. But I definitely want to start. I've been really excited for this call for 3 weeks. One of the profound moments was well, first it was a crazy show. Cirque put on something amazing over there, and and the message was very moving, and it actually has me want to. Actually, no, I'm committed to creating and bringing the new golden age into my real estate mastermind, my Legends mastermind. The conference in October is going to be really, really game changing. Okay, there's a whole campaign of challenge accepted. Like I was there after that show. I had to get a message out to my team. I was like, we need to create merch. We need to create content, things around this challenge accepted. Because they called us out at the show. They were like, who's going to bring the spirit of Burning Man back into your professional lives? Right? Because that's like the world of Burning Man was like almost like a dream of a future that could be. It's the largest gifting community in the world. And the other message was build for the children. Right? Like every business, everything we build should be for building for our children. And I've been on this path of working with teens. I work with teens that are aging out of foster homes. I work with teens that are recovering and rescue from human trafficking. And I teach teens how to buy real estate, and I teach them business. You know, I create a space for business mastermind for them as well. And so it's it's so in alignment. And my intentions going into Burning Man, and then the entire time that I was there, I was like, I understand how profound this experience is going to be. I couldn't grasp it 100%, but I knew that it was going to be profound. So just like going into any medicine journeys and stuff like that, my intention is always, let me come out of it with inspiration and actions for my actual life, in my life. So that's the part of integration from those things. A lot of times is like we come back from these really heightened experiences and it's hard to integrate it. We want to just throw it in people's faces and like, no, this is what I want to do. We immediately like take some crazy action, right? Like quit our jobs, move, or whatever it is that people, end up doing, right? Like once we like see something like, oh my God, and we don't even think. But the entire time, if your intention's there, you're present enough to know that this is going to happen. Like I came back extremely motivated and inspired, and I knew what I needed to do. There's a great line in Iron Man. I'm bouncing around a little bit, but I have a point, okay? Tony Stark gets captured, and he's in a cave, and he sees all of the Stark industries on all the nukes and the bombs and stuff that are in the caves held by the terrorists. And when he finally came back, he was like to Potts, Miss Potts, he's like, I finally know what I have to do. And yes, I was on some medicine when I was watching that movie. That's why I know it so well. But that moment, actually, I was 21 years old, I think, when I watched that movie. And that line, I finally know what I have to do, has driven my entire life. And when I left Burning Man, I was like, I know what I have to do. When I leave medicine journeys, I come back, I'm like, I know what I have to do. Right? And so I had a really, really profound shift in my mindset. I used to think that people needed to pay. Money needs to transact in order for value to happen, for people to pay attention. People had to pay in order to pay attention. And it's why I've charged from $5,000 to $10,000 to $15,000 all the way to $50,000 for things that I offer, because I believe the more people pay, the more people paid attention. And then I thought back to some of the people that I gave my mastermind and some of the things that I have for free. And I was like, some people have paid and just disappeared. Paid $15,000, never attended a call. Who does? Like what? That right there is evidence that that's not the truth, right? So I had this limiting belief that I've projected onto the world. And somehow from there, that was how I was going to serve. I was going to serve the people because I didn't want to waste my time with people that wasn't going to take it seriously. But it's not really up to me. People could pay and pay no attention, and people can pay and pay attention. So this whole idea of gifting and bring this back into our business, I made an announcement at the camp. I was like, I want to create a community. I want to extend and make Burning Man real in the world. I've accepted the challenge. In my mind, when I listened to it, I accepted the challenge. I don't know what that's going to look like. But I was, just really profoundly moved. And when I'm profoundly moved, I don't delay either. And it's cool because Burning Man also has another principle of immediacy. Not reckless, like making decisions like that, but immediacy, like when you have to take action, have to do something about it. So, anyways, I am inviting everybody, one, to definitely come to my conference October 21st to 23rd. It's called the Legends Impact Experience. Some of you guys know Gerald and Maya Rose. They'll be heading some things in there. A lot of any speakers that I bring to conferences that do have massively impacted my life, have created and been a part of those miracle moments that have shifted everything inside of me to the core. And those are the people I bring to the stage of my events. And it's not just another real estate conference. It's actually going to be an experience. So, anyways, I hope that everyone comes. It's limited. It's like 120 people max, but we've really put a lot of effort into the location, into everything. It is in Vegas. It'd be really cool. Anyways, that was one profound moment. And, she also said on the stage from the Cirque show that everything happening, best case scenario, is best case scenario. She repeated that like 3 times. I'm like, yeah, that is super A Course in Miracles right there. Everything happening is best case scenario. That takes a shift in our thinking, in our beliefs. It takes a shift to be able to do that. And another profound moment was, just by being with the people in our camp. We have such an amazing camp. No accidents that our camp is called Legendary. Legendary Playground of the Gods. Like, what? Is this not like A Course in Miracles meets like, this is the most aligned thing in my life or what? My real estate mastermind, we're legends. And then, Eric introduces us to Maya Rose and Gerald, and the rest is history. I mean, we've been so tight. We've been on so many different retreats and vacations together, masterminding how we can combine forces to really make a huge impact in the world. And they've been amazing, huge teachers in love in my life. Yeah. So there was another one miracle moment, and I'm going to give you guys a chance to share in a second here, where Gerald's brother, Clint, who wrote this really amazing book, and he learned from really epic teachers in India. The book is called what was it? The Ancient Secrets of what? Somebody help me out here.
Ancient Secret of a Master Healer.
There you go. And I've never actually seen people so confident and heal people like right there. So our camp every single day from 9 a.m. to I think like 5 p.m. was workshops. We had Aubrey Marcus was in our camp, and just all the amazing teachers. Okay, everybody with so many gifts. Courtney got a chance to teach something as well. So really attending Clint's workshop, because I've always been, Clint and I talk about Course in Miracles all the time, because he loves it. He believes that Course in Miracles is like a really, really solid study, really solid modality out there. one of the greatest vehicles. And so we chat about that a lot. But he put on a workshop, and he was like, "Who's experiencing any body pains or anything?" Right? And of course, my wife has had this neck pain for like, I don't know, months, maybe even years. It's been a long time. She's always complaining about her neck, and the pain is, she says, is between 7 at the time when we were in the workshop. So Clint's like, "Okay, come up here," and he's like, "Where does it hurt? How much does it hurt?" All of that, and she gave the answers, and he was like, "Okay, so you want the pain to be gone, so that what happens? Why do you want it gone?" And love goes into why I don't want the pain here, right? And most of us do something like that. This is what the course actually says. Everything is black and white. There is no gray and nothing in between. Either you come from love or you come from fear. The vision of one world is going to cost the vision of the other. The vision of one perspective costs the other, which is the same as if you say, "I want something" versus "I don't want something." It's the same thing. It's really the same thing. You're calling for something, but one goes into the direction of fear, of doubt, of uncertainty, of conflict, and the other goes into the direction of love, compassion, gratitude, kindness, all of that. So he's like, "No, just tell me what you want, only focus on what you want." And she's like, "I want to dance. I want to, do these things." Okay, cool. And so he, taps her hand, squeezes her fingers, do his little things, and then lays her down, measures her from her belly button to her feet, both sides. And it was like an inch off, maybe an inch and a half off, right? Like one was longer by an inch and a half. Puts her on her back, does a little thing, and, whatever. And then measures again. And it was even. And then tells her to stand up, touch the ground. It was like, "Okay, as you touch the ground, we're all going to clap and your pain's going to disappear." And boom, it happens. And she's literally in tears. And I know this is not like, there's no predetermined act or show that's happening here, because I know it's love, and I know her neck pain. So, like, she was so moved. And so he did it a couple more times with a couple other people. And I'm literally watching this happening. And he's like, and the whole time he's like, I'm confident that it's going to happen, that the healing's going to happen right here. And he's saying it with so much confidence. And you know why? Because he said, "God would not put people in front of me that are not ready." In the beginning, he was like, "You guys are going to experience XX, whatever, XYZ. If you're not ready for that type of commitment, please leave." And actually a couple of people left, which was fun, which was interesting. And, but the room was packed and everybody witnessed this. And the miracle in that also is that people that were witnessing it also received the healing and their pain was gone. And so that was another miracle moment. And I'm going to tie all of this to A Course in Miracles, of course, in a little bit here. But I do want to open it up for anyone that was there and just wants to share, or if anybody is here that just wants to say hi and welcome, our new brothers and sisters to this call and this community. And what also, like, if you've been here for a while, what's your take and your learning of the way A Course in Miracles has been taught here on this call? So yeah, open it up for anybody here.
Man, what an epic week that we all had. Hang on, I need to so, there we go. All right. So for me, it was like, I thought that I was going to be going to the biggest party on earth, and like showing up there and having just like an awesome time with 130 amazing people. But like what I ended up finding there was like love, and like a really deep love for myself, through the eyes of the other people there, right? And everybody that was there was just so genuine, so deep, and so connecting. And I just, it reminded me how to love myself best, right? And it reminded me how to keep an open heart and to maintain that and find that frequency of love and the Holy Spirit in like everything that I do, right? Like I feel like I would die for like anybody at that camp now, and it's just like such an awesome experience of connection. I mean, it was the best thing I've ever done, right? Just deciding to go to Burning Man this time and being in the legendary playground of the gods. Like I couldn't recommend it enough. And you and Love and your service, Alex and Love, were just amazing. They were just up there cleaning porta potties, like doing everything this entire time, just out of pure love and just the level of service, the level of love, the level of just gratitude that I feel for like everybody in that camp is just amazing. Like every one of you should go to this. Absolutely. Like I'm gonna see if I can get my dad to go next.
Yeah, that's amazing. And Tyler sang me a amazing song. What was it? It was called Holy Now.
Yeah.
Oh man, I want to learn it. Thank you for singing me that. So, yeah, I do. It was amazing. We had one night where we actually got to just chill and jam on the guitar, and everyone sang songs and shared their music. Like I was like, wow, amazing. I thought Burning Man, everyone was just gonna be going out, and like there's a million things to do, and you'll still miss a million other things. And we just sat in the camp one night and just like sang songs in an RV. It was pretty cool. Yeah, thank you for being there, brother. And thank you for being here on this call and being such an advocate for the Course in Miracles call. Yeah. Love you, brother. Maya Rose is here. Oh my God. Oh my God.
I would love to share something.
You too. We're still
Oh.
doing Burning Man, so we're joining you from in bed at our condo in the mountain.
Okay. Well, if you guys did not know,
like Burning Man with your goggles on still, so.
Yes, we're bringing it. So earlier I had mentioned Gerald and Maya Rose a couple times, and so these are the god and goddess right here that has really impacted so many things in our life and has, brought so much beauty and love back into our life as well. So thank you so much, and they will be at the conference in October. So yeah, it's gonna be friggin' epic. Thank you guys.
Love you so much.
I love to share.
Yeah,
that
please.
Miracle for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this really felt like a miracle. There's definitely a part of me that did not think this was possible. But if you can imagine, a big bowl with a hole on in the bottom that could just never get filled because there's that, and I feel like I had that in my heart, and I feel like the wound in my heart was healed. That hole in that bottom of the bowl was healed, and then it was sealed with self-love all around it to a level that I've never felt before. And then I've always known there was love around me, but I could never experience it. It was always like a fact, not in a knowledge, but never a feeling. And then now I feel it. And I thought that was just something I'm just going to have to operate my best with this hole in my heart. It's okay, But the fact that it got sealed, that definitely feels like a miracle to me.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. And you are a miracle. And King Kato will also be taking the stage in October with us. So looking forward to that. Anybody else want to share anything? You can be, we'll take another.
I would love to say something.
Yes. I was waiting for you.
So I had a wonderful expanding burn.
Oh, what was that?
And we've got somebody else expanding
Hold on, I will mute them.
as well.
There you go.
So I loved hanging out with Dream, Alex, Love, and really getting to know you guys. one of the things that really struck me about being at the burn was the last year of my life, I have done something that has been very different for me, and that is kind of isolate. And I'm always just going and having high energy and connecting with people. I love connecting. I love entertaining. I love performing. I love all of these things. And it's just, you can feel it, right? Ugh. And then this last year, I've isolated myself a lot. And this burn was like a turning point for me about, I love what you said earlier. I wrote this down. Like, I finally know what I have to do, right? That's Iron Man. Like, I really do. I finally know what I have to do, which is be so intentional about connecting with my tribe, whether that be here in Idaho or finding a way to do that in Texas, in Utah, in Las Vegas. It is time for me to step out of this last year of isolation and really sink into the connection that fills my soul, like being at the legendary Playground of the Gods or going to your Legends event in October, like being part of these things and contributing, showing up in contribution, showing up in love and connection and growth, like having those be my top human needs rather than certainty, which is an elusive thing anyways. But the burn for me was an opportunity and like a pivot point for me to step back into the connection with my tribe and expanding who is in that tribe and what that tribe is. But it's time, and it is so exciting, and I feel like I really do finally know what I have to do. And everything in my business and in my friendship life and my romantic life, all those things will flow. They just will flow, and they will align when I be intentional about connection. And that's my commitment, and that's what I'm so excited to do. And being a part of the burn it solidified that for me. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. How's your ribs doing, or your rib?
They're sore. They're really sore.
You feeling better though?
As far as they are feeling better than they did that night. I spent a night in like the Rampart ER tent out at the playa because I fell and hurt my ribs, but they are very, very sore, and I am excited about them fully healing quickly. That's what I'm excited about.
Awesome, love it. Yeah, thank you so much
Thanks,
for being
Jeff.
in our life. And one thing you mentioned, like one of the things I just wanted to kind of make a distinction on too is certainty, right? Because you're like, oh, it's either this or the certainty. But that is the question actually is, what can you be certain about? Like when the Course asks us that, like, what can you be certain about? Because there is nothing actually in the physical world that ever is consistent enough to be certain. So like, for example, like if I had enough money, then I can be certain that I will feel more at peace or be happy. If I just had achieved this, then I can be certain, but you can't. Right? So the Course asks, where can you be certain? And so that gets to be a question. And so you actually mentioned, you spoke into, the connection. There seems to be certainty there. When you're in I finally know what I have to do, there is certainty. And a lot of what we'll talk about on these calls is faith. Where can you be certain in that? That's where most people get kind of lost. Like, we're looking for some kind of spiritual awakening, and we look through as many different modalities as we can. We become kind of like a jack of all trades of all these different modalities that we don't actually have a deep devotional practice to. You know, Love and I, when we came back from the burn, yesterday, actually, we it was a little challenging, you know, because she came like crashing down really, really hard. Like she was really high from the burn and was really excited and felt all the love, and then came back and came crashing down. And we had some really, really profound conversations. You know, she was like, well, I just feel like I haven't achieved anything in my life. I don't know what my purpose is and all these things, and just went down this rabbit hole. You know, and it's because we have this kind of conditioning in the world that anything that we ever really give all of ourselves to kind of has let us down, right? We're like, okay, I will be happy once I get this. And then we get there, and it's not what the promise was. And then we look for something else, and it's not that either. That's why we go from job to job, relationship to relationship, seeking outside of us. She's like, I need to go take another course. I'm going to go join another summit. I'm going to go do another thing. I'm like, that's not the answer. When you're looking, and she's like, I got to take another test. I got to see what's wrong with me. Right? So, like, and then her neck pain comes back. So you see how, like, Clint was saying, focus on what you want. But as soon as she goes into what I don't want, it goes into what's wrong with me. This is not good enough, you know, and it just goes down this crazy rabbit hole. And the Course says there is only one thing that is real, one law, one universal law, and that is where you put your energy into, that story and that belief grows. And the Course says there are what you need to do, okay, is understand the difference between perspective and truth. We speak often like a perspective is the truth, right? I remember this one thing, and Gerald was there for that. Somebody said, in order to experience love, you have to experience pain. And it was like a straight fact, truth type of like thing, you know? And I just giggled because it was a learning moment in there for me. I'm like, oh, look, okay, I can, even when I speak too, I start to, I can catch myself. Is it a perspective? That's why when people ask me questions, most of the times I'm like, I don't know. I don't really know. Do you know? What do you think? You know, because I really don't. I can't answer things from a place of fact. I can teach what the Course has taught me, and then I relay this message outwards, you know, and if it resonates with you, it resonates with you. But if not, then don't take it. It's all perspective. However, there is right perspective and wrong perspective, and not in the sense of like what we think right and wrong is, but in terms of delay. Right perspective brings you to like loving thoughts. Remember, there's only two things ever happening. It's either love or it's fear. Okay, there's not gray things happening in between that. There's only two. It's black and white. This is what I love about the Course. And so either you are in a space of love or you're in a space of fear. So the right perspective is giving it over to spirit. I don't really know. You know, the one thing I know is that everything is happening for me and the greatest good is happening and I am a vehicle. Anytime that I put my own judgment or I get in the way of that, I limit the love and the light that is potentially able to come through here. So what the Course says is everything is love. Okay, everything is love. The light is shining so bright. And we kind of stand in the way and the light hits us. And then we decide where love goes and what love looks like and how things should be done. And that's a good person. That's a bad person. He deserves my love. She doesn't deserve my love. And in that, we dim the light. But because there is no separation, the one problem that we have is that we believe that we are separate. And so that from that one problem, that we are separate, we dim the light. But because we aren't separate, we also just only dim the light for ourselves. And so that's all that's ever really happening. So if you take nothing away from A Course in Miracles is how do I get out of the way of the great way? The great way knows the way. The Tao knows the way. God knows the way. I only have to practice getting out of the way. How it's simple in theory, hard to practice. Just like I always knew that giving and receiving is the same from what I'm studying with the Course. And I've experienced it a couple times. But being at Burning Man, like giving, somebody said, giving at 100%, that's how you can call forth infinite energy. When you give at 99%, that's harder. When you give at 99.9%, that's probably even harder. So give at like 100, 110 all the time. So we got a chance to, one of the things that, we did was we were giving out these otter pops. Just like we gave out like 4,000 otter pops. Okay, people were riding their bikes by. We were just out there in like crazy heat. It was hot and just giving out otter pops. In my daily life, I probably would never go out and do that. Because I would be like, yeah, it's too hot, nobody really cares, whatever. But because this whole place was filled with gifting, no money was spent. I didn't spend any money anywhere. And I was fully supported all the time. But giving these ice otter pops out, and we pre-cut them, people were so grateful. And people would give gifts back, and it was just like this whole feeling, it's almost like a dream world. Like, why can't we bring that into our world? So like, even if you weren't there, I really want to begin to bring the spirit of that into the things I do in my life. Because it's not separate. It's not separate. So for those of you guys that are there, like, I would love to start to have more conversations of how we can take this into our business, into our life. I believe that I can create, and I have already like a real estate audience and following and all that, and I don't have to just do transactional things. Anyways, I'm kind of tangenting, and I do want to go into the Course a little bit here. But Liba, you had a question and you got your hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to share. First of all, I love this call. I'm dying, but I'm here. And I also just went to my first Burning Man. I found out a week before I was going I had 1 week to plan and was away for a couple of weeks and then went straight to Burning Man. I feel like I had half an experience because I was working as a nurse in Rampart and was jet lagged half the time. So really only got to experience it Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But coming back now makes me look at my life and realize, like, I feel like I'm in someone else's life. Like, I feel like I came back and I stepped back into a life that belonged to somebody else. And I don't feel good, so I'm trying to, like, figure out where I belong and what I'm actually supposed to do. But one of the most amazing moments for me at Burning Man was I went with a nurse and a paramedic after our shift. We finished at 3 a.m. and someone said the eye has amazing sunrise stats. But they happened to have that morning off. They had like the day before, they had the next day, and we were far. We were by 515 Esplanade, so we bike out to the eye, exhausted. We get there and there's nothing happening. But we're so tired, we're just gonna sit. It was in our car with some music right there. We're just gonna sit and chill. Like, all of us couldn't move, so we just sat by the trash fence and we were just sitting there hanging out. And this woman came running by, looking, probably in her 60s, looking for a lighter to light sparklers for her friend's birthday. She's like, "Do you guys have lighters?" We're like, "No." She kept asking people. Finally, we see her running back with the lighter, and she goes and disappears. And then these two guys come up to us. They're like, "Does your friend have the lighter?" We're like, oh no, we don't know her. She asked us, but none of us smoke. We don't have. Anyways, like, so these guys are hanging out, and like 10 minutes later, this woman comes back with her other friend, and the look of joy on her face that they were able to like light sparklers for her friend's birthday, and that she found a lighter was like, I remember just thinking like, it's the smallest thing that makes the biggest difference. And all of us were just sitting there and chilling and hanging out. And then like after that happened, this person like offered us pizza that was being somewhere brought like a thing to make pizza. This like guy met this French chef who had brought flour with him and water to make pizza, and he figured he might find someone at Papaya that had like a thing to make like that wood burning whatever oven pizza, like that machine, and he found this guy that had it that was on that art card. So they're serving like French fresh pizza at 6 a.m. with like this woman that carried out her wagon and had like coffee and chai and everything. And I remember thinking of like Mayan warriors with their beans and like all of these like amazing like kids and all these amazing people playground with their music and loud. And then I'm like, that was all amazing, but these small tiny moments for me were like so much better, and just like show me like what's really out there and the true essence of what people have. So for me, next year I'm definitely going back to longer
Yeah.
and not jet lag. Hands down going for both week as well. And yeah, just the gift of like giving, like being able to just give to people. I brought a bunch of light up scrunchies and I just like handed them out to people on Playa, and it was so fun to just give like small things away that like make such a big difference. And you know, like you have to work for something. Like I didn't have electric bike, and when you're exhausted and you need a bike back across Playa, it makes you realize like what you do have, the small things in life, and even being sick all week. I'm like, I will appreciate to breathe so much more when I feel good again.
Yeah.
Because I've just been in bed like for 4 days, so tired all day. But I love that I heard the full story of full circle of Quinn's story, and I waited around for the rest of your group. He told me a bunch of you guys were coming, but I guess I didn't see any of you. It wasn't meant to be, and it was meant to be just to see him. But yeah, it was amazing experience. And then Nova had like for me was like a huge highlight. The DJ that was playing at the Nova Festival in Israel, he finished his set at 6:29 a.m. The same DJ, when the terrorists attacked, flew to Burning Man. They brought a bunch of survivors, and he continued his set. And he actually played till 2 p.m. that day. Only stopped because our car needed to go back home to rest and like regroup for the night. And that was a very powerful experience to like, you could feel energy that like didn't exist. Like it just came from out of nowhere. But yeah, overall, I wasn't gonna come on this call, but I'm like, if Alex is sick and he's doing the call, I need to come on the call. So here I am. I love that all of you joined.
Thank
They're
you.
awesome.
Yeah.
And God willing, I'll be there October.
Good. You will. Thank you so much, Levi. I wish I did get to see you. I was thinking about you, and you know what she shared right there was, it's like, it's actually not even a miracle. It's like normal for something like that to happen. You know, there was a moment I got back to the camp. It was random, like 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'm standing, and I know this guy, Tennyson. He's got string cheeses. He brought string cheeses, and I was like, string cheeses. I was like, you know, I really want some string cheese. I was like, I closed my eyes. I was like, please, Tennyson, I'm asking for some string cheese. And literally, he just shows up. I was like, what? Like, that is crazy. And so I got my string cheese. And then I was like, oh man, I think I'd be asking too much if I ask for this other person, if I ask Theo to show up, you know, because like to have this just kind of like, the playa is so big, random times, everything is so massive. And the fact that I could even think about these people, like, and then they just show up, like, how it's not even miracles. It's actually just normal for things like that to happen on the playa. So it's really cool. If you get an opportunity to do it, I highly recommend it. Yeah, connect with me throughout the year, throughout the week. If something like this is calling you, we can figure out how you can come to Burning Man and be super supported by like awesome community and stuff like that. So anyways, I want to dive in a little bit into A Course in Miracles. I'm actually going to start here with Marianne Williamson's A Year of Miracle. And today, this is a perfect one. It says, may I actualize the light within me. Everyone I meet, every situation I find myself in represents a lesson that will lead me to the next step in actualization of my true self. Everything that happens is part of a mysterious educational process in which I'm subconsciously drawn to the people and situations that constitute my next assignment. I'm subconsciously drawn to the people and situations that constitute my next assignment. With every lesson, I'm challenged to go deeper, become wiser and more loving. And whatever my next lesson is, it awaits me wherever I go. God's work is the work of my greater becoming, and I don't have to be somewhere else or doing something else in order to do it. Right in front of me, on this very day, there are things to do, thoughts to think, that represents a higher possible me than the one that I have been manifesting. In any given instant, there is more love I could express. Today, may I expand my boundaries of my capacity to love. May I be more forgiving, more merciful, more compassionate, and kinder. May others feel in my presence more permission to shine, as the light of God shines through me to bless them and lift them high. May I actualize the light within me. So I took a picture of that and I sent it in both the Burning Man chat and the ACIM chat. I actually want to put the link to the ACIM group chat in here. So if you want to stay in touch with people, this is all amazing, epic people that are here, and I'll just kind of add it in here in the chat. So feel free to join that. Yeah, so for those of you guys that don't know what A Course in Miracles is, it's actually, I went to Burning Man and the front cover of my book fell off. Is this? It's A Course in Miracles. It's a 3-part book. It really, really has impacted my life greatly. I grew up half Catholic, half Buddhist, and the Catholic side of my family was always forcing me to, go to church, go to Bible study, and always trying to guilt and shame me into things, and I just didn't like it. And the other part of my family, my uncle, my grandfather, they're part of the Freemasons. And they started by teaching me like Buddhist ways and philosophies. And a lot of their texts actually had God and things like that in it. So I couldn't accept it either though. Even then, I picked and chose which part I wanted to believe in, and so growing up, I would run away from church. I would run from Bible study and things like that. My mom would try to force me. So I grew up really, really conflicted. I was a very angry kid. I would get into a lot of fights. I would break things. And there was just this conflict and fight inside myself all the time, and it wasn't one of my first mentors. He taught me about A Course in Miracles, and I always thought, I was like, oh my God, it was cool, some of the things he would say, and I really loved his way of being. And he's like, everything that you're seeking and what you're looking for is in the Course in Miracles. And this is when I was like 18 years old, and I was like, okay, fine, give me the book. So I opened it, God, Holy Spirit, Jesus, boom, closed it. Can't do it. I can't do it, bro. I can't do it. Give me some, like, Eastern philosophy stuff. So I pursued that for a while. But it never really, like, there was a part of me that wanted peace, wanted to do great things and support and help people. And when my dad passed away, like, I was in a really kind of dark place. Is like my first girlfriend at the time also broken up with me at the same time. Like, I tried to, like, kill myself, and I was in a dark place. And when I came out of it, because of, like, Eastern philosophy and teachings, it was like the only way out of your own suffering is to ease the suffering of others. And that really landed for me. And so, but I was still conflicted. A part of me was doing like ceremonies and mushrooms and things like that, and I was calm and really peaceful, really grounded. And the other part of me was really, really wild. I would drink and immediately get into a fight with somebody, and, like, I've been in so many insane fights, and it's fun if I think back about it, but it was really, like, immature. I was really conflicted. And then my dog passed away. When my dog passed away, that's when my heart was so broken that I was like, give me A Course in Miracles, something. I need something like this. So, the course said, and this is actually what got me into the Course. One sec. Preface. Okay, here. So, the Course should stand on its own. See, I was comparing it to something else. I was like, the Course should stand on its own. Its intent to become it's not the intent to become the basis of another cult. Its only purpose is to provide a way in which some people will be able to find their own internal teacher. I was like, I need to find my own internal teacher. And then it says that it focuses on application rather than theory, and experience rather than theology. It specifically states that a universal theology is impossible, but a universal experience is not only possible but necessary. Though Christian in statement, the Course deals with universal spiritual themes. It emphasizes that it is but one version of the universal curriculum, and there are many others. This one differing only in form, but they all lead to God in the end. And so that was just like, I felt like, okay, the Course is speaking to me, that I am included. I am included in this collective healing that gets to happen. And I think the answers may lie here in what my function and my purpose is. And so the Course says your only function is to extend the light that is shining onto you. That's your only function. And so in today's section, we're on chapter 7, section 8 of the Course. It does not matter that you've read the Course at all or not, or you know anything about it. Words are symbols that represent something, and symbols and words are often misinterpreted. So what I say, you might not even be able to hear. But what's actually happening is the energies are always exchanging. There is no mistake in that. So even if you can't hear and you can't understand the words, the energetic frequency, the words behind the words is happening. And everything that we talk about on this call in the Course will speak into what is happening in our reality that is relevant for us to grasp onto, but also point to something that is beyond. Right? And the Course says, don't beat yourself up. First of all, there is no, I'm done with the lessons. Oftentimes people say, hey, oh yeah, I read the Course. And I can tell they're not practicing the Course. They're not devoted to the Course. They just maybe read the Course. And I was like, oh, I read it 20 years ago. Oh my God. I mean, definitely, I can tell. right? For people that are actually actively studying the Course and practicing the applications and things about the Course, you can tell, and when I speak to people that actually study the Course, like, we immediately go on to the same wavelength. And there are a couple of people that I met in our camp that does. And when I say the Course, I don't only mean A Course in Miracles. I mean, I can tell they have a devotional practice to a spiritual practice. Like, there's a devotion. Devotion recognizes devotion. Because they all lead to God in the end. So, as I read this section, it's not long. I would try to... My invitation is to let go of any ideas that you've ever had. There's nothing that is useful in serving you to try to understand the words of A Course in Miracles. But rather, if there is a place that you can be so open that you allow the downloads to happen, even if you don't understand what it is that you're hearing. There's a level of awareness and consciousness to the thoughts that will come. Maybe as I'm reading, you're going to have thoughts of your parents. Maybe as I'm reading, you're going to have thoughts of your job and your career and your life, your significant others. Maybe you're just thinking about your dog. You're thinking about Burning Man. You're thinking about someone, something. Allow those thoughts to come and allow those thoughts to go. Just become the witnesser of yourself for a couple moments. Right? This is the practice of getting out the way. I will witness myself. And I will witness myself witnessing this ACIM call. All right, so that's the invitation. I know it's a whole lot of words, but hopefully the spirit of that came through. So, since January 1st this year, we've been going through one section of the Course every single call. We do this call every Sunday and every Wednesday. Been doing it for 5 years. Some people have been here the entire time. Some people are new. Some people are in, out. It does not really matter. The message will always be perfect for you. Everything happening is best case scenario. All right. So at any point, feel free to ask a question as I'm reading also. But just notice if it's from a place of I need to try to understand something, or if you just want something repeated, or if it was profound. Doesn't really matter, but just notice. Just become the witnesser. All right, so chapter 7 is called The Gifts of the Kingdom. Oh, perfect. Gifts of the Kingdom. Section A is called The Unbelievable Belief. We have said that without projection, there can no longer be anger. But it is also true that without extension, there can be no love. These are the fundamental law of the mind, and therefore one that always operates. It is the law by which you create and were created. In the law that unifies the kingdom, it keeps the mind of God. To the ego, the law is perceived as a means of getting rid of something that it does not want. To the Holy Spirit, the fundamental law of sharing, by which to give what you value in order to keep it in your mind. See, giving and receiving are one. It happens together. But the ego thinks that by giving something, I get rid of it. So that means I don't want the insecurities or the things that I feel. So what we do is, and the distinction is the projection. Projection and extension are really the same thing, except one is love and one is fear. Okay, so when we project, We actually think we can get rid of something. Bullies bully people because they have their own insecurities. Right? When we attack people, it's because we feel a sense of lack. The Course also says, is a beautiful line, that the only thing ever lacking is what you're unwilling to give. Right? And so the Holy Spirit goes, yeah, well, if you want to project it onto others, that's how you keep it. See, sharing works like that. To have is to give all to all. That means you attack somebody, you are going to keep that. The ego doesn't really think about that, because the ego thinks everything in the physical world as, I give you $5, now I have 5 less and you have 5 more. So that means spiritually, if I feel a sense of inadequacy, all I have to do is give my inadequacy to you, and then now I have less inadequacy. But see, the law of sharing and the law of expansion actually is, the more you give, the more it's real, the more you have of it. Now, how do we turn that, and how do we take that and put it into our life? Right? So we'll continue. To the Holy Spirit is the law of extension. To the ego is the law of deprivation. It therefore produces abundance or scarcity, depending on how you choose to apply it. This choice is up to you, but it is not up to you to decide whether or not you will utilize the law. Every mind must project or extend, because that is how it lives, and every mind is life. The ego's use of projection must fully be understood before the inevitable association between projection and anger can be finally undone. The ego always tries to preserve conflict. It is very ingenious in devising ways that seems to diminish conflict, because it does not want you to find conflict so intolerable that you will insist on giving it up. The ego therefore tries to persuade you that it can free you of conflict, lest you give the ego up and free yourself. Using its own warped version of the laws of God, the ego utilizes the power of the mind only to defeat the mind's real purpose. It projects conflict from your mind to other minds in an attempt to persuade you that you have gotten rid of the problem. There are 2 major errors involved in this attempt. Okay, so like we can catch ourselves like when we try to get rid of our frustrations. And we can see that just in the relationships that we have with the people that are right in front of us. The way we do our relationships. You know, we think we can get rid of it. Like when we're frustrated, when me and my wife get into an argument, like we almost sometimes try to like draw blood. We would say things that we know are hurtful. Right? So somehow thinking that if we did that and we drew some kind of reaction, then I would feel better. But we don't. We just get more angry. Right? So the ego's the 2 major errors involved in this attempt. First, strictly speaking, conflict cannot be projected because it cannot be shared. Any attempt to keep part of it and to get rid of another part doesn't really mean anything. Remember that a conflicted teacher is a poor teacher and a poor learner. His lessons are confused and their transfer value is limited by confusion. The second error is the idea that you can get rid of something you do not want by giving it away. Giving is how you keep it. The belief that by seeing it outside of you have excluded it from within is a complete distortion of the power of extension. That is why those who project are vigilant for their own safety. They are afraid that their projections will return to hurt them. Believing they have blotted their projection from their own mind, they also believe their projections are trying to creep back in. Since the projections have not left their minds, they are forced to engage in constant activity in order not to recognize this. You cannot perpetuate an illusion about another without persuading it about yourself. There is no way out of this because it is impossible to fragment the mind. To fragment is to break into pieces, and mind cannot attack or be attacked. The belief that it can, an error of the ego always makes, underlies its whole use of projection. It does not understand what the mind is, and therefore does not understand what you are. Yet its existence is dependent on your mind because the ego is your belief. The ego is a confusion in identification. Never having had a consistent model, it never developed consistently. It is the product of the misapplication of the laws of God by distorted minds that are misusing their power. However, do not be afraid of the ego. It depends on your mind, and as you have made it by believing in it, so you can dispel it by withdrawing belief from it. You know, Love and I talk about this a lot. Like, you know, sometimes she'll say, my life, like I feel like I haven't done anything. But if you focus on all the things you have not done, that becomes the real story, right? And as I share my life and our lives and our experience, hopefully you can take some of this and relate it back into your life and how you do it. And then you can dispel this belief that you have also on these things, whether it be I can't make enough money, I'm not worthy, you know, whatever the limiting conversations may be, that where you give that story more effort, where you speak it out into words, the moment we speak it out into words, it becomes 10 times harder for us to undo that belief. Because once you speak it and somebody witnesses it, all of a sudden the ego's like, ooh, now we got to keep defending that. And it becomes a real story when it really isn't. Right? So like we go down this rabbit hole, and all of a sudden it becomes safety's out everywhere in our relationship. I'm like, okay, well, is that like real? Is that true? Every moment safety's out? Like, see how the ego is so like drawn to conflict. And we've practiced that, training your muscle. A Course in Miracles is a muscle training in your mind, is a training of your subconscious. Bob Proctor, he used to teach about the subconscious and the conscious mind. The subconscious mind is something that we operate from 90% of our life. We speak and we talk words and all this from a trained part, from a subconscious part of our mind. But that subconscious part of the mind is also not the truth. It is belief systems that were constantly added in there. You know, things that we took on, and we kept telling the stories over and over about my life. My parents were like this, and that's why I felt neglected, and this trauma. And we carry that on. The more we speak into it, the more it becomes real. Okay, and sometimes I speak about this and it turns people off a little bit, because I believe, and it's not spiritual bypassing or anything, but it's an understanding that the mastery of love and the mastery of your trauma is not the same thing. And you do not need to actually master your trauma in order to experience love. In order to experience light, you do not need to go to battle with the darkness. Because here is that law again. See, the confusion is we think we do. But the more we fight the darkness, the more darkness becomes real. Even if you think you've overcome it, the thought that you think you're overcoming and you've beaten the darkness makes that darkness still real. That still exists. The Course says to defeat the darkness, all you have to do is turn on the light and darkness just disappears. So here again, it's that focus on, it's either light or it's darkness. It's either love or it's fear. There is nothing in between. The vision, the thought, the moment you step into love, darkness is not there. The moment you think about darkness, all of a sudden love's not there. So do I need to be battling these things or not? Now, I'm not saying that people and the shadow works and these works aren't important, because sometimes people are at different places in their lives that, yes, they may need to have some kind of understanding about why they behave the way they behave in order to start practicing that. But there's also an addiction to the trauma. There's an addiction to having conversations with that. Just think about when you're with your people, like, what type of conversations you draw out of people. You know, my wife and I, she tends, when I'm around her and people that she's hanging out with, I tend to hear a lot of, like, one, medical research about, like, problems with the body and how to fix it and all that. And then also, like, broken relationships, you know, like a lot of, like, heavy stuff comes out in those conversations. The conversations when I have with people, like, it's all inspiring type of creative conversations. It's just what you're going to draw out in people. You're always looking for evidence. Like, when she says, I have to take another course, or I want to do another test, I want something outside of me to show me something else, I'm like, it's never going to do any, not that it's never, but it's not going to do any good, because you and I can read the same thing, okay? And we will take something completely different and opposite out of it. Because what the Course is saying is we have already decided what the world is. And what we're doing is we're looking for reinforcement. And this is why the Course says projection makes perception. Projection makes perception. We actually believe that my perception, my experience of people outside of us is dictating my experience right now. Right? That Burning Man dictates my experience. That the people around dictates my experience. The Course says to flip that upside down is the right way to look at cause and effect. I have decided the world that I want to see, and that's what I'm calling forth. And then I have that experience. Like, if it's conflict, if it's trauma that you're looking for, that's what you're going to find. If it's conflict that you're looking for, it's what you're going to find. But if it's peace or love that you're looking for, that's also what you're going to find. So to really understand this, like, cause and effect, God is really the cause. You are the effect of that. Yes. Micah, did you want to share something? Okay. Anyways, so I'll just... No, you're good. You're good. All right, I'll finish this section. We'll just open it up for shares to wrap up the call. When you're willing to accept sole responsibility for the ego's existence, you will have laid aside all anger and all attack, because they come from an attempt to project responsibility for your own errors. But having accepted the errors as yours, you don't need to keep them. Giving them over quickly to the Holy Spirit to be undone completely, so that all the effects will vanish from your mind and from the sonship as a whole. The Holy Spirit will teach you to perceive beyond your belief, because truth is beyond belief, and God's perception is true. The ego can be completely forgotten at any time, because it is totally incredible, because it is a totality incredible belief, and no one can keep a belief that he has judged to be unbelievable. The more you learn about the ego, the more you'll realize that it cannot be believed. The incredible cannot be understood because it is unbelievable. The meaningless of perception based on the unbelievable is apparent, but it may not be recognized as being beyond belief because it is made by belief. So, like, this, I love when the Course, like, uses the same word over and over in a loop. It's not that it creates confusion, but it really comes down to, like, it's a belief. You gave the power of this belief. You gave it the power. You believe in it. You believe it's real. But that is not the truth. Truth is beyond belief. Right? So the whole purpose of this course is to teach you that the ego is unbelievable and will forever be unbelievable. You who made the ego by believing in the unbelievable cannot make this judgment alone. By accepting the atonement. The atonement is the undoing of not sin, but the undoing of, let's just call it the remembering. The remembering of the kingdom. The remembering of your highest self. Okay, so the acceptance of the atonement for yourself, you are deciding against the belief that you can be alone, thus dispelling the idea of separation and affirming your true identification with the whole kingdom as literally part of you. This identification is beyond doubt as it is beyond belief. Your wholeness has no limits because being is infinity. So basically, what I love about the course is the constant reminder, and here's like summing up everything we've read up to this today, is that you alone cannot dispel the ego because you believe in the identification of yourself. The identity of who you are is an idea to be undone. The identity of yourself is an idea to be undone. Because this identity of Alex teaches real estate, buys commercial real estate, teaches A Course in Miracles, all this stuff. This identity is part of this ego identity. But what is actually you is far beyond all of that. So just by identifying with this Alex meat suit, I'm limiting myself and my mind. I alone cannot undo the ego because I live in this meat suit. So back to this question of what can you be certain of? Where can you give your allegiance to? And the Course says, give it over to the Holy Spirit. And I'll tell you this right now. This is one practice that has changed my entire life, and I hope this lands for you guys. And I hope you guys do this also. When you lose your peace, which you will, when you get upset, when you judge, when you're conflicted, when you're scared, when you're worried, when you're stressed, all of that is losing your peace. And all loss of peace is equally disturbing to the mind. Not that some are more stressful or less stressful. Any confusion, anytime you don't have certainty, it's loss of peace. Now, I'll just use whenever I get like kind of upset with love. Sometimes she'll talk to me in a way that's kind of like with a tone. And I just I'm like, why? Where does this tone come from? And so we also have an agreement that we don't air our dirty laundries out there, except maybe on this call. I kind of have permission because it's A Course in Miracles, but that's why a lot of times she doesn't really want to be here on this call. Also, it's too early and she's still sleeping. But she's here sometimes. She blesses with her presence here and there. But when I get upset, I'll literally keep going inwards and just saying God, show me a different way to look at it. God, show me a different way to look at it. God, show me a different way to look at it. And just continuing that mantra until a vision comes to me. And it's always the same thing. Every challenge and every struggle and every stress I ever have, the clarity comes to me when the message comes in clearly and it shows this is how you're going to serve your brothers and sisters. This is how you can feel deeper and be more empathetic and sympathetic to everyone, to the world. This is how you care and love deeper and become, a greater teacher in this space, greater student in this space. That these times of challenges, sometimes it's stress about real estate deals, sometimes it's financials and all that. And some of you guys that are here, like I've been sharing, the past couple months have been a little bit rough because I took a $300,000 loss on something. And I share on here. I don't have any filters on ACIM calls. So yeah, and I'm like, show me another way to look at this, because I couldn't. I'm just thinking, I go down the rabbit hole of, well, this didn't happen, then this and this, and just I can't get out of it on my own. So this one simple prayer, show me a different way to look at it. Show me a different way to look at it. And just being patient and waiting for it to come. And it always comes. It always comes. So all I believe, and this is just from myself, I believe that all things in life is pointing to faith. And that's why I have a book coming out called Had You Have Faith, You Wouldn't Need a Miracle. And I'm super excited for I've tried to write a book before. I wrote a book and I haven't done anything with it. It's called From Money to God. There's a lot of pages written in there, but this one I feel really, really good about. And I'm excited about that. And it's all about faith. If you can be in this state of mind that everything happening is best case scenario for me, for the world, for every single person, everything that's ever happened, we can even say the shootings, the shootings that has taken place in the world, best case scenario. What? That's going to challenge us a little bit. The human trafficking that happens, best case scenario for you and for the world. Whoa, what? Right? It's always challenging us to deepen our faith. And if we have faith, we wouldn't even need to pray for miracles. We pray for things to happen because we think we know what's best for us, and we don't really even. Sometimes the worst things become the greatest lessons, and we're so grateful for those terrible things that we once thought was the worst thing that could possibly happen. And then it becomes the best. So anyways, I'm done with my ranting. I want to open it up just for the next 7 minutes as we wrap up this call. For anyone that feels compelled to share anything, anything at all, I invite you to share. Any challenges? Okay, go ahead, Fraser.
Hello and good morning. I actually loved the section where it said, when you're willing to accept the sole responsibilities of this ego's existence, you will have laid aside all anger and all attack because they come from an attempt to project responsibility for your own errors. So a few weeks back, I stopped taking them after this, but I was taking a microdose, and my microdose ended up not being a microdose, and it was an opportunity to go into a shadow spot that I had previously in the subconscious not really realized that I was projecting this what's the word I'm looking for? Regret. I had a regret about something and I was projecting it onto someone else. And then I realized that that was my responsibility. I was the one that had made that decision. And so it helped to lift this weight off of me and to accept that responsibility. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share. And I feel really good about it.
So what did you do about it?
I was projecting anger and upsetness with the fact that I had, I'll put in quotations, let my daughter go to the United States with my ex because I was struggling over the last little while with still finding a way down there, to be there presently for her and for my, obviously for my tribe and for my friends. So what that allowed me to do was to see that that projection wasn't hurting anyone but myself, because it was in the subconscious. It was causing a lack in myself. So when I saw that, I got rid of that blockage and was able to, I started to get a lot clearer on a few things, and I've had some sessions with Adam with figuring out a different way to look at things, as like how you say, to look at things, you're always asking God to help you to perceive it, a different way to see things. So it really helped me to just see that it's a blessing, and it's up to me to take that responsibility in the ways that I have to, and to really dive deep into whatever opportunity comes up that helps me to get there.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Well, that's good self-awareness. You know, the level of self-awareness we have actually a lot of the times reflects our level of maturity in relationship with people. You know, so good job. Anyone else want to share anything? Claudia, then Lisa.
I could.
Okay, all right, go ahead, Lisa.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
No, I
Go ahead.
didn't see Claudia's hand up.
You first.
I just wanted to share how inspiring it was and is to hear you all talk about Burning Man and what you're bringing back from that experience. I know that Burning Man is not for me because I can't do the desert, I don't think. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it for right now. But I have been feeling that about Peru. Like, how can I bring Peru here and bring that sense of community, you know, that you invited me to in the Sacred Valley? And I've had this idea that I'm going to be putting out into the world. It's called the Hive Creative Arts Collective. And going to be like looking for collaborators and like to bring this vision. And it is that. It's like what I experienced there. A place for open mic and community to come hang out and use the Wi-Fi and give back to the bees, you know, as a give back opportunity and all of this stuff. So I just wanted to say it out loud here, because it would be the first time that I'm saying it out loud in a public space. And just to say, like, it's inspiring that you're bringing Burning Man here and I'm bringing the Sacred Valley here, and we're all doing it together. And we're all, you know, looking for those partners in what we're creating. And I'm just really excited. And thank you for this call. I was so committed to being on this call today. So I'm really happy that it worked.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love it. Claudia Tasnova.
Hello.
Hello.
You wanted to come in. Number one, it was so miss you so much.
Choo choo.
And, yeah, we wanted to share some of the miracles that we experienced this weekend.
Please.
I would. Well, first of all, to those who are new, welcome to the space. My name is Kat Nova. I am Alex's little soul sister. Little soul.
A little sister.
Yeah. She's gonna drink some water. So he connected me to Choo like a few months ago, and I'm sure he connected me to Choo.
Yes.
So just wanted to say thank you for that, for seeing that vision. You're so good at knowing who to connect and reunite. I feel like I just reconnected with a soul sister. And just, dang, I don't even know where to share. There's like so much to share. Yeah, okay. Yeah, today I was telling Claudia I'm listening to you, and I was just feeling like so much non-resistance to what you were saying. Just, I felt this retreat that the three of us got to co-facilitate, I feel like we did so much of the work that you were always embodying and reminding us of. It was so beautiful to experience how easy it is and simple it is to choose love, and also the relief coming faster when I think it's a hard choice to make and then it happens. We got to, we got to serve a beautiful group of women, and some of us I was doing it for the first time. And yeah, I got to experience the three of us reuniting like this and getting into the vision of love created so much like inner work with service was which just felt like the right way to learn this, you know. I feel like when I try to learn this lesson inside my own world, it's harder to make the choice of love. Like I don't know, it just feels more complex. Like I don't remember why we do it, you know. And then here in service I just realized like how important it is and how miraculous it is to choose it. I feel like I experienced, powerhouse, visionary, go-getter women like shift like this.
Yeah.
Like this. We were all like not sure, but also like just trusting the way. Like that's
I was
Pichu actually.
I knew it
Yeah, actually just kidding. She was trusting. She was holding the space for you. I feel like I was like in between. But we just witnessed the miracle, you know?
The miracle. And seeing Tasnova just drop in, you know, and like just so powerful to see her, you know, follow her intuition, share the gift of music, share the song, sing, and bring her medicine to an incredibly powerful group of women was just miraculous. And so we wanted to thank you because you were there with us. You were here. You were here with us.
We sang like 3 songs that you always sing.
Aww.
Totally right here.
With us.
Yeah.
So thank you. Thank you for your beingness and your lessons and your medicine that you always teach. So inspiring.
Super inspiring.
And we're ready for Burning Man. I'm ready.
Let's go. Okay, cool. We're ready. We're ready.
I had no idea that's possible there and the community that's being built there. So thank you for those who joined and shared.
Yes, we love you all so much.
Yes.
Yeah, love you guys so much. And one of the things that Tasnova said that's super on point is like when we try to like choose love, like just us and ourselves and like choose love for ourselves, it's sometimes a lot harder, you know? But when we come from a place of service, like choosing love becomes easier. And that's what the Course says. The Course says your job is to see the light in others. You see it for them. You can actually awaken for other people by seeing the light in them before they shine it. You're calling the light out of them. Calling the light within. Chuchu, you wanted to share? Yes.
I want to share real quickly.
Yeah.
Matt, Alex, before we met, we were introduced by people, and we just showed up in the same place surprisingly. And also, miraculously, on the playa, the same. We I literally walk into love, and Alex, that's the magic. And I want to share, like, I feel my life is filled with miracle. I hosted 2 retreats, like right before I had to Burning Man. I'm still hosting retreats. I feel really depleted. And once I arrived, refilled by the magic of Burning Man. I have to move the whole retreat center to a new location with these awesome ladies, and we're so like physically tired and overwhelmed. And to be honest, hosting the most powerful women, it's intimidating. And they have strong personality. They have used to be leaders, and just like waving the surrender and trust in a constellation that are so used to control. It's such a I don't know how to put it. It's just such a liberating. Like we learn a lot about trust. Myself too. Like even before the last ceremony, I was feeling trepidation because how I normally hold space. There's much more like flowy and trusting. Like we have to earn a lot of trust from these people, but because we embody, because we choose love, this whole journey is about trust and love. And a lot of these people are not religious or not spiritual, and they summarize this as a religious experience because we all end up having a deep connection with the spirit and finding the trust in ourselves and in life in flow. And trust magic is real, and it's so aligned with everything you embody in your teaching. And I think that's why we were able to, we know each other for like 3 months, and we were able to go deep and become like so families in so quickly because we are in the essence of what's true.
Yeah,
I
amazing.
want to follow up with acknowledgement to you too, because I I have always known my light, but to actually have the courage to share it is not the easiest. But ever since you've entered my life, like the way you see me and believe in me, and connect me with the right people for the opportunities to come to me and for me to believe in myself and say yes. Like I don't know if I would. I mean, I'm not gonna say I don't know. I've trusted more because I see the example that you are and how you embody it and how like real it is to actually believe in the light and live in the light, and it's so simple, like you always say. So I just want to thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Alex. Love you.
Thank you,
And
Love you guys so much.
Leave everyone and share with us and yeah, share the trust together.
Yeah.
More to
Love
come.
you guys so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Whew. Okay, well, that was that. And yeah, thank you all so much for being here and witnessing. You know, witnessing yourselves and witnessing me and witnessing each other. It really means the world to me that this call continues to happen. And for, you know, I remember in the beginning and just like what Tasnova was saying, I was like, who am I to teach A Course in Miracles? Like, how many years do I need to have studying before I should be teaching? You know, I didn't know. I just started. And for 5 years, there's never been a call where nobody was on the call. That was my biggest fear in the beginning. I was like, what's going to happen if nobody's here? And then going to the playa. At first time in Burning Man, and I get to deliver a workshop on A Course in Miracles. I was like, I don't even know anybody. Who's coming? You know, I didn't, like, I was like, okay, well, what am I going to say? What am I going to deliver? This is not just like one of these Zoom calls, right? Like, I'm actually on a mic in front of people. I got to do something. And it's not just going to be a one-way type of thing. Like, it needs to be a workshop. So I wrote so many different things. And every night before I went to sleep, I would read this whole thing that I wrote about what I'm going to do in the workshop. And I literally got into the workshop and something came over me and I didn't even do what I wrote. And I just created some whole other thing off the cuff. And I think this one guy recorded majority of it. And he was like, my phone died. He's like, halfway through or most 3/4 way through, my phone died, but this needs to be recorded and put on YouTube and all this stuff. And people were coming up to me like, I'm so glad A Course in Miracles is on the playa, and I think I'm ready to start reading again. And everyone in there, they came because they loved and wanted to support me. Eric was there, some of my people that I loved were there, and there was a bunch of people that just came off the streets that came in. I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. And yeah, and I did have moments where I needed to step into trust. Because I was like, look at these people on this list of stars that are doing workshops. And I'm just like, bam, right in the middle at like 11 a.m. or something like that. I'm like, who's coming? People are out till like 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning. Who's coming to 11 a.m. workshop? And but that's part of the ego's nonsense, right? Like, who cares if one person shows up? Who cares if nobody shows up? Like, what's the story we make up about all that? Right? So like, there's only trust. Everything's a lesson in trust and love and faith. So, thank you, Tasnova. Thank you, Claudia. Thank you, Choo Choo. Thank you, everybody, for just being here. And we'll be back on track. We're almost done with chapter 7. And I don't know, probably by the end of 2025, we might be halfway through the book. So, there's nowhere to go, and nothing we really have to do. We're just studying the course, and whatever lessons come from these calls. If you're ever challenged or there's things that are, like bothering you, and you're conflicted on what to do next, these calls are a great place to remember. That's the whole intention of this call, is to remember. So, anyways, thank you all so much for being here. We're gonna wrap it up. Claudia, do you still have your hand up, or it's just left up from before?
My mistake.
Okay. All right, Michelle, go ahead. You got one. You take us out.
I just wanted to see you and for you to see me, and that's all. I love you, and this is amazing. Gratitude. I felt the spirit of Burning Man transform the world. So just so much gratitude for everyone's divinity and that anchoring of truth and anchoring of spirit.
Yeah.
Love you so much.
Thank you. Love you. All right, everybody. That's it. That's all.
Thank you.
We'll talk soon, guys. Much blessings.